Hiya. Okay, Spirit. Can you give Pamela and I a grounding message for today, for this time together?
That sounds like a bunch.
Sekhmet,
Oh,
wounded
wounded
healer.
healer. Yeah.
I feel like it's like you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be the expert. You just share your journey. This is soul forgiveness.
Hmm.
That is interesting. Forgive me, Pamela, for being all over the place.
I forgive you.
And for being late. And I
Oh
forgive
my gosh.
myself.
Guess what? I just picked my cards up. Okay, so maybe we're supposed to be talking about soul forgiveness.
I suppose. And masks.
Okay.
Jumbie.
Interesting.
This is an interesting spread.
Hmm.
What is here for us? What is here?
Well, okay. So when I think of Sekhmet, I think of, yes, the wounded healer. So the one who has come here to heal themselves, and through healing themselves, they help humanity heal. So
Mm-hmm.
Sekhmet is definitely a archetype that I feel that deeply and that I connect
Mm-hmm.
with. And for me, it's a reminder that the greatest work that I can do is the work of self,
Mm-hmm.
and to be anchored in that. It's reminding me also of what I was sharing with you before we got on about the highest vibration, the vibration that brings strength to our bodies physically is love. I'm going to read this real quick. It's here. Love heals, love forgives, love liberates. Unconditional love empowers. It brings truth, it's courage and acceptance and reason and beauty and joy. And in this vibration, our physical bodies are strengthened. The muscle response is actually strength from those things. I do feel that there's a need for us to feel our strength. And I wonder if it's this awareness that our focus is has been co-opted by other energy, emotions that actually weaken our muscle response. And to
Mm-hmm.
recognize that and do the work of healing for self. So
What about the masks?
so I think that we all are wearing a mask. And what I'm thinking about is not like we're trying to hide from the way that I'm receiving it right now is like it's not that we're trying to hide our faces, but that our bodies are an actual mask. It's masking who we really are. Because we're
Mm-hmm.
spiritual beings having a physical incarnation. And so I don't necessarily feel like or have a resonance around, oh, there's a mask you need to take off, but it's about remembering that you are spiritual energy concentrated into one space to form a body that you get to have for this experience, but you're so much more. And so that brings, it kind of connects the soul forgiveness, it connects the wounded healer. It's remembering who we really are, remembering
Mm-hmm.
who we are, and bringing healing to the physical experience. Um, and that requires us to forgive ourselves when we forgot about who we were, or when
Mm-hmm.
we are operating outside of who we were, or if there are other people operating outside of who they really are. Because we
Mm-hmm.
are one, we can tend to get into this looking at the masks around
Mm-hmm.
us and not acknowledging the spirit that is us. And maybe that is the distraction. It keeps us focused on what's presenting on the outside. So the fear, the hatred, the hopelessness, we see all of that instead of feeling the fullness of who we really are. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For me, the masks is reminding me that we are all things, that we are one. And it's also reminding me of my journey in priestess training and how we go through 13 different archetypes and how all of these 13 archetypes live within us. And so we just wrapped up the Great Mother, and now we're in the Goddess of Compassion. The next one is the High Priestess. And so it's like I'm seeing how she's wearing a mask and how she also has these other masks available to her.
Mm.
And so it's like, are you bringing forth the archetype that is necessary for each and every moment? So that's like something that I'm thinking about at this moment. I also feel like cards like tell a story. So the first one that came out was Sekhmet. And the first thing that came into my mind was you don't have to be perfect to create change in this world. And you don't have to wait until you're all the way there before you allocate your medicine to those who want it. And then I think, so the soul forgiveness card has come out, I feel like 3 or 4 times. It's I feel like there's something there that we might not be seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to pull some more cards around soul forgiveness. So Spirit, what are we not seeing in this soul forgiveness card? What wants to be revealed? So we have the Chariot in reverse. We have the Emperor. We have the Moon. And we have the Five of Swords. So we have the Chariot in reverse. And we have the Emperor, which represents an empire, which represents divine masculinity. We have the Moon in reverse also. The Moon represents things that are hidden, that are secret. And then we have the Five of Swords. Like there's something that maybe we're ruminating over, maybe we're confused about. I think this soul forgiveness could be towards people who are not bringing balance with opposing energies and moving forward with that. I think this is also showing like an imbalance in divine masculinity and divine femininity, and an unwillingness to move forward. What are you getting? Are you getting anything?
Well, I was curious because I wanted to look and see what we might be not picking up from the book. And it touched on some of the things that you talked about. So it says, who do you need to forgive? Let it go and reclaim yourself. Forgiveness is a gift of freedom for you, from you. You cannot rush forgiveness. You have to feel it to heal it. Feel the pain, hurt, grief, rage, and despair. Take time with your heart. Forgiveness is a higher vibration frequency than the pain you must allow yourself to feel. So unforgiveness colors your world with lack, mistrust, and resentment. You start to see everything through victim colored glasses. But forgiveness does not have to include reconciliation. Start with self forgiveness. Say out loud, I forgive myself with love. I forgive and free myself. I forgive and free others. Yeah, so this is what I'm kind of getting. And this is from like all of your cards because you pulled the Chariot in reverse. Chariot is about harnessing seemingly opposing energies and bringing them into alignment. The Moon card also had the light wolf and the dark wolf, and they're both kind of howling at the moon, and she's kind of falling into the abyss. And then when I'm listening to this and I'm thinking about what we read before we even got on the call about these two opposing energies, right? And then I'm feeling a remembrance of the story about the two wolves that live within us. They're light and they're dark. And there's this amazing indigenous creator who tells indigenous proverbs. And the way that we have told that story is incomplete because it's like, which wolf wins, and it's the one I feed the most, right? And that has been where we have left the story, but it's actually much deeper. And it's this awareness that we need both of them. We actually need both of those energies. And when are we don't want to kill off one energy, but we want to know how to alchemize its energy, right? And so what it's kind of reminding me of, and then we go right back to Sekhmet, is this awareness that we are wounded and we heal all at the same time. Those opposing energies exist within us. And so our reason for being is to see how we are not looking to change the world so much, but that we change our inner world so that we come from this place of balance, not banishing the dark, but recognizing that it lives within us and it lives within other people too. And we can honor their struggle, um, and also make sure that we're focused on balancing the energy within us.
Ashe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything to add because I feel like you said it. You said it very well.
Thank you. Thank you for pulling those because that's a really important message.
Mm-hmm.
And pardon me, the clarifying cards really kind of drove that opposing energies um home. It is all
Mm-hmm.
us. All right, well, I'm gonna pull one of these. These are the rooted and growing. So since we're talking about making sure that we're doing, oh, well, we're okay. So if that's the theme, if the theme is about healing ourselves, it's about taking the opposing energies that exist within us and harnessing them for the purposes of being a beneficial presence on the planet. Um, what are the practices that we like? What are the practices that can help us be that, do that? Do you have any thoughts about?
I think that, well, the first thing that comes into my mind is like getting clear on who you want to be.
Mhm.
Like reflecting on how have I been showing up in ways that no longer align with who I want to be and what I want to offer into this planet.
Mhm.
And then I think that once you get clear, I think this is a journaling experience too, of like journaling down who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? What are my values? Knowing that your values can change over time. And then step by step, figuring out how to implement them within the relationships that you already have, within the relationship that you have with yourself, within the relationships that you already have with like your closest people. I think that's where we should start,
Mhm.
and then we expand out from that space. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
what came up first.
Yeah. I think that I love that you brought up values because you know that I love values. And I think values are really important because it helps us to stay in right standing with ourselves. Like to know, okay, this is what I'm about and this is what I need to stand for. And that's us living in our personal truth, right? And so if truth is an energy that actually strengthens our muscle response, then consistently aligning ourselves to our personal truth helps us be strong in the face of whatever comes our way. I just pulled two cards over here. Ooh, okay. So the question that I was asking Spirit was, what can we share about a personal practice that can assist us in healing ourselves, wrestling with what might be happening within us, and also in that wrestling, we're coming to a place of harnessing our energy to move us into who we want to be. So the first one I pulled is peace is my anchor. And what this reminds me of is finding time for you to anchor into your personal peace. Like we might not be in always be in a place that is peaceful, but if we bring peace with us, then we will always be at peace. And then the second thing was, as it unfolds, I say thank you. And this can be taken two ways to me, right? Because whatever unfolds, I will thank you. I will know that it's working for my greatest and my highest good. And so that I can stay in this peace, right? So it's this practice of gratitude, knowing that you're supported, knowing that you're divinely guided, protected, and provided for. That is how we anchor ourselves and stay in a strengthened vibration amidst what may be happening around us.
When I heard that peace is my anchor, I was brought back to a vision that I had while I was in meditation, where I was in meditation for the Great Mother, and the tool of the Great Mother is the cauldron. And, you know, in the cauldron, you mix things together and you create something. And so in this vision, I saw like a lot of wind over the cauldron, but I was like, my view was inside the cauldron and looking up. And so I saw all of this wind, and Spirit was like, slow down so that you can drip into the cauldron. So peace is my anchor. It's important to slow down. It's important to get quiet so that you can hear from the anchor within what to do next. The other, what was the other card?
As it unfolds, I say thank you.
And this is like a confirmation card for me around gratitude. And it's reminding me of this card, the Four of Cups, I think it is, where the girl is like sitting and she has all of these bowls around her, all these cups around her, which are like her gifts. That's how I see it. But she's not recognizing all of the beauty that is around her. It's like she's missing. She's overlooking it. And I find that once you become grateful for what is already here, it opens up your perspective to see more opportunities, more possibilities from a different viewpoint that you probably weren't seeing before. Even in like the negative things that are around. Like, thank you for this opportunity to see the strength within.
Yeah.
Because I believe, just how we were talking about on our last episode, how those struggles and the pressures that we experience in this 3D reality is really there so that we can get to know ourselves on a deeper level. Is there to help us grow and evolve into gold, into something magnificent. And like that magnificence is already there within us. It's more of like allowing itself to reveal, allowing it to reveal itself to us. And thus those people around us.
Yeah. I love how you said that the magnificence is already there. And like, kind of like with the clouds or whatever it was passing over, it wasn't given enough time for it to settle in, to soak in. And I think sometimes we have this picture or idea of what our magnificence should look like. And we're already like operating in magnificence in some way, but we can't even stop to recognize it because we're trying to create this picture that might be in our mind's eye about how this should look or how this should happen. Take the time to appreciate yourself. Take the
Mm-hmm.
time to love yourself. Take the time to, maybe it's even forgive yourself for not appreciating the part of you that is the magnificence. Like, I think a lot of times we've been taught to kind of fit into a container, a cookie
Mm-hmm.
cutter way of being. And there's so much beauty and in our differences, in the diversity of how we express ourselves and how we show up. And sometimes we have like kind of hidden that away. And so it's like this full embrace. It takes me back to Sekhmet, where it's like, we're not wounded, our souls aren't wounded, but we have taken on this wounding from the world
Mm-hmm.
and forgotten who we really are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's what kind of came up in my mind when you were talking about, taking in the magnificence that is already there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you said like this card has come up several times, like why does this keep coming up? And I'm like, I kind of want to dig into why does it keep coming up? Like
Mm-hmm.
and when I go into that, because it's about forgiving yourself and it's about forgiving others, and like I think that there's a reality that is existing in our collective consciousness of frustration, of unforgiveness, of hopelessness, of falsehood, of all of those things that weaken our physical bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, it's like, well, until those things are gone, this is going to be the reality of things. But the truth is, peace is our anchor, right? That our peace, that our operating in love is our anchor through these things. And that if our value is unconditional love, if our value is forgiveness and soul forgiveness at that level, it's like having to forgive all of the injustice, all of the wrongs that you feel have been done to you, when they're still feeling like they're being done, feels impossible. It feels impossible. And I also know that it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
So living in this duality, like, yeah, I probably feel like that freaking two wolves and the two horses. And I know what I'm supposed to do, but it's like for freaking what? For freaking what? Earth is ghetto. I want to leave. Like for real. Like I just want to go. I want to go. Like I do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it doesn't. And I know that I have so much to do here. So what I mean by that is not that I have to do it for everybody else, but me being here means that I have to do it for me. Like that stuff
Mm-hmm.
still is in me. Last week I had a dream, and I think it's a reoccurring dream because I've seen this woman's face before. And the first time she told me the house is on fire. And in the dream, I knew she wasn't talking about my house. Like I wasn't afraid. It was just like a statement, like the house is on fire. And I woke up and I was like, I got to remember that the house is on fire. Now, there's a whole lot of reasons as to why that statement makes sense right now. Um, and then this time, maybe it was like 4 or 5 days later, I had another dream, and it was kind of like I was in a hospital, and very weird, kind of pinkish walls. And I saw the same lady, but before had seen her bust. And this time I saw her full body. And I remember being like, why is this happening?
Mm-hmm.
And she like stopped and was like, it's happening to show you what's still in you.
Mm-hmm.
And like she mentioned fear, and that was it. And it's like, it's really easy to look at other people. Now, this is not to excuse when other people are behaving badly, like at all, but it's really easy to look at the people who are behaving badly at a 1,000, right? And excuse your 10% or
Mm-hmm.
allow the energy that they're in to affect you and bring you into an energy. Now, I think it's helpful for us to be aware of the energy that we get pulled into because it means that something is resonating there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's our job to harness and not be in a place of judgment, but in a place of forgiveness for self. Because I think what we could do is deny what's happening within us, and we can't uh make right what we're not willing to feel or what we're
Mm-hmm.
we're denying within ourselves. And if we deny it, then it's okay if they deny it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it but it's really like remembering that we are one and that everything that is accessible to any human being on this planet as far as the range of emotions or actions or beliefs is available to us as well. Our role is to heal ourselves and bring that healing to the world. So we are wounded for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so that we know how to transmute that energy within us and model the healing that the world needs.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you for allowing me to. What's coming up over there?
For me, what's coming up, it sounds simple, and then at the same time, it sounds like, I don't know if I want to say that. Um, but it hits on the point when you're like, we're wounded for a purpose.
Mm,
Like I remember watching this video of like, we've lost this and we've lost that and we've lost time and we've lost resources, we've lost wisdom, we've lost ancient wisdom. And while that is true and can be true, I feel like it's also a disempowered place to hold that perspective and move from that perspective, like move with that perspective in mind.
mhm,
Because I'm thinking, like, okay, that has happened.
mhm,
I can't change it.
mhm,
And so it's more of like, well, what is spirit wanting me to know in
mhm.
this moment? And for me, it's like the power of remembrance. The
Yes.
power of remember, like the fact that we can remember
Mhm,
ancient wisdom to me is quite magical and quite powerful.
mhm,
Um, and so I feel like what I've been hearing is like, don't move from a space of victim mentality or victimization. Like, you have a key
mhm,
that is strong, that is powerful, that is magical, that is wise, that is resourceful, that will help unlock something, not just for yourself, but for other people as well.
mhm,
But we have to move out of this like, woe is me mentality. Like, we can't see the key
mhm.
if we're like, our head is down. And I feel like that came up in maybe a card that you were reading or something that you were reading also about like victim mentality.
Mhm. Forgiveness is a higher vibration of frequency than the pain you must allow yourself to feel. So this is interesting though, because it's saying feel the pain of the loss, feel, and I think it can be taken a couple of different ways, because part of reclamation is understanding what has been taken.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't have to, like, you know how we've talked about this before too, where like you can say something and you're saying it in one energy and you're saying it in another energy, and it's complete different translation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you could say, take it if you want, or take it if you want, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
those are two different things, same words.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is about how it lands for us. I think it's important to like recognize like, oh, this is making me feel victimized. Okay, why do I feel victimized? And then we recognize like, yeah, because I feel like there's something that I had that I should have had all along, and
Mm-hmm.
that someone came and took it. That's the truth. But now I get to know that I had it.
Mm-hmm.
I had it, and because I had it, and it's always been mine to have, then now I get to reclaim it. No one gets to take things away from me anymore. And now, yes, I might have lost time. I might have had to go through these hardships, thinking about the alchemist again, about how
Mm-hmm.
he had to go from all these different things, right? But having the treasure at the end, you're not worried about how much time you lost, because
Mm-hmm.
you now have, and you recognize that you've always had it.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about Dorothy, Ruby Slippers, you know how everybody's like, Glinda, that was so janky of Glinda to give her these slippers, tell her to go on this journey, and ask this wizard who she knew didn't have no power. Only, only for her to get there. And then she said, oh, you could have went home anytime you wanted. You just had to click your heels 3 times. She had all the tools, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because she was, oh, here we go. Because she was made to believe that there was a power outside of herself that she needed to come save her, she depended on, now she still needed the shoes, but
But they were on her body.
but they were on her body. Stay with us. It's hit the point. It was the lessons that she learned, the people, relationships that she forged, and the trust that she built in herself. Um, so yeah, I'm really encouraged by that.
I love that too.
Yeah.
Bringing us back to our personal power.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not power over.
Not power over, but
Power
power
within.
within, and power with,
And power with.
and power to do a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So since we're talking about our personal, I think we should just talk about our personal power. How can we take this moment to encourage people to stand in their personal power by naming what our personal power is, like by declaring it? I think that's a really, it's counterculture to what we've been taught, right? Like, oh, you don't talk about yourself, you don't big up yourself. But I say, let's big up ourselves. What have you come to bring to this world through your soul's journey?
I know that I've come to this world to bring unconditional love. My personal journey has been about my personal power, has been about authenticity, has been about sovereignty, and experiencing sovereignty while in relationship, like not sovereignty and like hermiting away. And going against the grain and being okay in that space, which is still a practice of mine also. So I am on a mission to infuse divine love into this planet energetically. Mm-hmm. I believe in the power of energy. I believe that it doesn't have to be forceful. I believe that, I don't have to teach it per se. but that I hold the space for people to find it within themselves.
Mhm.
Um,
And I will say that you do hold space for people to experience themselves. Um, I have been a beneficiary of that gift that is you, and I'm grateful for it.
Yay.
Yep.
Awesome. What about you?
I am here, and this is something that I've shared. I share a lot. I know that I'm here to heal my heart and the heart of humanity, to recognize our divine connection, that we're all connected. The fatal wound is that we see separation. And so I'm here to speak the truth of oneness. So I'm here as a truth speaker. I'm here as a healer of myself and thereby a healer to the rest of humanity. And I know that there's information that I don't know, but I know. And so a transmitter of information that is beneficial to our evolution as humans. I also really, it's funny because when I was younger, I used to say, I hate people. I know that's,
Well, you
and
have evolved.
my mom would say, you don't hate people, you love people and you hate the way that they are towards one another. And that has
Mm-hmm.
always been how I've been, where I see the potential that we have as a humanity, as a collective society, as a world, and to see the potential in something and then see it go unrealized is is overwhelming sometimes. And so I'm here to hold hope. I'm here to hold the frequency of what I know can be. Um, and that means cheering. It means cheering for humanity and not losing that hope, no matter what is happening. And that's sometimes really hard. It's sometimes really hard. But when you know what you're here to do and you stop telling yourself that I don't have what it takes, or who's going to listen to me, or when you stop telling yourself that, spirit gives you such inspiration and direction to do the things that you need to do. And so nobody said life was going to be easy. So we're holding hope and love and our common humanity for the highest good of all. Thank
Yay. I love that.
you.
And I love you.
Love you too.
And what you stand for.
I love you and
Mm-hmm.
what you stand for. It's very like aligned
Mm-hmm.
because that frequency of love and authenticity and all of that there. And I think that's important for us to recognize that like when people are operating in their gifts and in their unique ways of being, they're not going to be exactly the same as you, but you're
Mm-hmm.
going to be able to find that alignment that says, yeah, we want the same things.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we're here to work in collaboration with one another.
Yes.
Yeah.
Using our differences, accepting our differences, and focusing on what we have in common. Can we all just get along?
Oh my gosh, you're so funny.
The amount of times that happens in my head, or
Yeah.
I say that in my head, is pretty often. Can we
You know, it's
all
funny
just
though,
get
but that,
along? And
but, oh,
ever
go
since I
ahead.
was little, too.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, it's that two opposing energies. It's like, how do we do it? So it's a very good question. I don't think we've collectively figured it out yet, but I know that there are people out there who want to. They want to see everyone thrive. And we need you in our community. We need to be in connection with those people. And
That's right.
we're not marginalizing anybody else, but it is about building. That's the power to do a thing when we're power within. Our power in community is power with, and then power to create the world as it should be. To close this out, Spirit, we're grateful. Thank you for allowing us to have this time, and just ask that if you have anything to help close us out, anything that you would like to share with the collective, make it simple, make it plain. We give thanks. Ashe. Yep, there you go. Limitless. You know, it's interesting. It's got like the swan, and I'm thinking about the ugly duckling and how it was left out. It felt a certain way. It was wounded, but then it turned into this beautiful swan. And so what we see, the actuality of who we are, it's the raw potential, but actually we're limitless. We are limitless. The same power that created the universe and all things and keeps those things in balance has no limits. It keeps growing, it keeps expanding. And we are just a fragment of that. We are a hologram of that. And so we really can rest in embracing our limitless potential so that we can hold hope. We are limitless.
Awesome. Can't nobody hold me down. Oh no, I got to keep on moving. That's my channeled message.
Yes, I love it. All right, my love. Well, I'll see you soon.
Yes.
All right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and become a part of our growing community. Until next time.